Come, whoever you are, whether you are joining us online or in person, whenever the last time you went to church, whomever you love.
Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Cheyenne, where we are building a community of refuge, where all have equal worth and are invited into spiritual exploration as a foundation for hope, compassionate service, and action.
This is a place where questions are encouraged.
This is a place with room for all of who you are.
This is a place full of works in progress.
This is a place for being human together.
Welcome. It is good to be here.
Settle in and exhale. This is a time for community.
Hello, I'm Gene Heater, a member of the board, and I'd like to welcome you to this church where we are on this shared journey to find meaning, connection, and community together. If you are new to us, please consider filling out a blue visitor card that you'll find in the pew in front of you so that we can share information about our activities and events and help you find what nourishes your spirit in this community. You'll also find note cards in the pews for writing down joys and concerns to add to our pastoral prayer. We'll pass an additional labeled basket alongside the offering to gather these cards. Write your name or leave your joy or sorrow anonymous. You can also write "Do not share" if you have a concern or need to share with the minister, but do not want it spoken aloud in prayer. Another way we create connection and meaning in this community is through the activities and events that happen in our building and in the community beyond our walls. Let me tell you about a couple of the events that are happening soon. Today is a religious education day, and all children ages 5 through 12 are invited to go downstairs at the end of our worship service when we sing our blessing song to the children. There they will find a chance to reflect on the worship and participate in the creation of altar space together. Please note an update to our worship practice. In order to help our community more easily share the joys and sorrows of their lives, we encourage you to write on one of the note cards tucked into the pews along with the donation envelopes and our welcome cards for newcomers. We'll pass an additional labeled basket along with the offering to gather these cards. You may write your name or leave your joy or sorrow anonymous. You can also write "Do not share" if you have a concern or need to share with the minister, but do not want it spoken aloud in prayer. The service auction is coming up, and we would be glad of your gifts and goods and experiences. Please pick up a service auction donation form in the lobby today and take this opportunity to purchase a raffle ticket from Emily in the lobby. There she is, sitting behind the flower.
The raffle ticket is for the quilt, so come check
For
out
the-
the awesome quilt by raffle.
Yes, for the, is that the quilt there?
It's right out there on the table.
Yeah, on the table, okay. All right, thank you. We gather both in person and on Zoom as a congregation. It is here that we gather our resources to sustain the work of this church and share our abundance with community organizations to broaden the reach of our values. You can find the address of the realm app for giving online in your order of service, or your share of the plate offerings and pledges may also be dropped into baskets now as they pass or at the rear of the sanctuary at the end of the service. Our Share of the Plate partner for the month of May is Bethel Outreach. Please welcome the words of Carol Jean Bongo to tell you a little about their work.
Good morning. My name is Carol Jean Bongo, and I'm this month's liaison for our Share of the Plate partner, Bethel Outreach Ministries. They're a faith-based 501c3 nonprofit organization that focuses on re-entry support for recently discharged inmates of all kinds of penal institutions in Wyoming. This is their mission. The long-term debilitating mental and emotional effects of incarceration, coupled with the social stigma surrounding former convicts, makes it difficult to lead a normal life once they are released. Bethel Outreach Ministries' goal is to equip former convicts with all of the basic resources that help them to get their lives back on track. Some of the support services they offer include housing assistance, such as financial support with rent or damage deposits, budget classes, helping create resumes, obtaining IDs, and earning GEDs. They also have a mentoring program and all support successful integration into the community, reintegration. We hope that you'll be generous today in supporting Bethel Outreach Ministries in the Share the Plate offering. Thank you.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds to change a life from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the world. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these lives. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the world. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these vines. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the world. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
From our very first breath, we reach out. Co-regulation, not self-regulation, is our nature. We find our cues from the sun, from the moon, from each parent, each caregiver. We find our place on this great turning planet by turning to one another. From generation to generation, we awaken to the dawn and fall asleep at the evening's end. Our life's journey is a part of something greater, something simple, something divine. For a flame cannot be lit without a spark. A life cannot begin without the air. And we cannot begin to find ourselves without love. May we reach out to one another. May we offer love and nurturing care. May we join together in celebration of the interdependence of our lives. And in this spirit, may we worship together. So for our opening hymn, I invite you to turn in your gray hymnals right in the front, and rising in body or in spirit to join in singing hymn number 2, Down the Ages We Have Trod. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 7, just to make life fun.
Oh, it went out. Today's words for the chalice lighting are written by Deanne Olivia. We light this chalice for mothers and mothering, to celebrate those who have taken on the task of nurturing a young one, a baby, child, or youth into adulthood, to celebrate those who have nourished the light of truth and compassion in growing minds and hearts, to celebrate those who have committed time, money, energy to the growth of others in the world. We light this chalice to celebrate and hold dear this flame of love. It is now time to invite the young and young at heart and those who would like to join me up on the chancel. Please come up so that we can recite the words of the covenant. Who's willing to come up? Awesome.
Words to our covenant may be found on the inside cover of your order of worship. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its cause. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth, and to help others. That I'm not muted. All right. So, how many folks out there have someone in your life who has been a mom to you? Either your mother or a mentor, or a teacher, a friend, someone who has cared for you. Yeah, that's pretty much everybody. Well, so I have a few memories about my mom. When I was little and I said, "Mom, I'm bored." Well, she would often say, "You can find something to do, or I will find you something to do." I hear some folks who have also had that experience. But as long as I had some idea of something I might like to do, my mom really liked helping us out to figure that out. So sometimes I would pull all of the canned foods out of the turnaround and line them up on the floor, and my brother and I would pretend that we were running a supermarket, and we would sell each other the cans and empty out our piggy banks so that we had change to run the cash register. Sometimes my mom would just give us a big bucket of chalk and say, "Go outside." And so we would go and sit on the front porch and create highways, draw out parking lots and garages for all of my brother's Matchbox cars. Has anybody here done any kind of imaginative play in their house or their yard? Maybe once in a while. Yeah. So we would do that. Sometimes we had read something in a book. Sometimes we read The Boxcar Children or My Side of the Mountain. And we wanted to go on an adventure and run away into the woods and fend for ourselves. And so my mom would pack a bandana and put cheese and bread for sandwiches and some apples and send us out into the yard with an old sheet that we could drape over a branch on our pine tree to make a tent in the woods. We had at least 4 trees. It was definitely the woods. So we'd make a secret hideout and go zipping away. One summer, we set up a card table at the end of the driveway and we sold zucchini and hand-painted pictures at 25 cents each. And at least 3 neighbors bought one of each. We made nearly $2 that day. But it was great fun. So when I think about what it means to be a mom, I think there's a lot of pieces to that. There's caring and thinking about safety, but also letting you have your imaginations and aiding and abetting that growth of thinking about what you want to dream and imagine and then make real. So instead of just saying, well, here are my stories about my mom, I am going to invite us to turn to each other and think of something you have been able to do that was creative, that was fun, that was imaginative, that maybe a mom or a mom-like mentor or a mom friend or a teacher helped you to do. Can you think of any imagined or creative things? And then instead of just putting the folks up here on the spot, I'm going to invite everybody to turn to someone and tell them a time that they've been mommed into being more, into finding creativity. So. All right, folks. I hate to draw such generative conversations to a close, but I'm going to ask that we wrap up our final thoughts and head to our seats. the warmth of that energy as people began thinking and sharing and remembering. Thank you for being a part of that. And now let us tune into ourselves and join together in a spirit of prayer, spirit of meditation, with words from Reverend Linda Hart. From where we have come, this breath, these fingers, a heart that opens and closes, opens and closes. What is it that has made this body, feet, legs, hair, and teeth? We come into consciousness in the middle of the story. The world and its vast life reaches far before we knew and grasps at the future that we cannot see. And here we are, born into this world and living these days for better or for worse, whatever acts of chance occurred to bring us to birth. Whatever happenstance laid this particular path for our lives, in these moments of calm and stillness, let our hearts be opened in gratitude for the gifts that can be found along the way, for love given sweet and free, for the peace of the morning and the warm colors of the sunset, and the grace of companions and moments of ongoing birth as our hearts are renewed, and for those that have offered us the gift of mothering, no matter their age or gender, those who have tended and cared, who have offered support and comfort, who have stood by and stood with us. Those who have given us life by birth or by their presence in our lives. So into this quiet, I invite you to speak as you are moved, the names of those who have given you life. Natalie, Dolly, Catherine, to all those spoken aloud, all those whispered in the quiet, names mouthed, names not present. Let us hold in our hearts a great cloud of mothers and mothering and being moms. And in this time, let us also hold room in our hearts for the cares the joys, the many things which are happening in this community and in the wider world. Let us hold space for Joanne Drapo, Mike's cousin, of Greensboro, Alabama, who will have open heart surgery on Monday morning. And for our own Pris Golden, our musician, who will be having her hip surgery tomorrow in Fort Collins. We hold her in care and in hope for healing and for her ability to return to walks and music, which she loves so much. We hold in care the Smith family, who lost their beloved dog last week. His name was Sid, and he was a very good dog. And our thanks to Troy Ann and Sharon and Mike and Lori, whose assistance at the Komea dinner party last night served about 55 guests. Let us honor their care. So, for the many blessings of our lives, may we give thanks for the turning seasons and the moisture which will bring such beautiful green to our land. And for all the cares too tender to be spoken aloud or too new to be shared. Let us also hold room in our hearts for one another as we, as always, join together in this community. Blessed be, and amen.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Sigamos adelante, siempre adelante, siempre adelante, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Amaremos con pasión. Siempre con pasión. Siempre con pasión, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna reach across our borders, reach across our border, reach across our border, never turning back, never turning back. Y vamos sin frontera, siempre sin frontera, siempre sin frontera, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna reunite the family, reunite the family, reunite the family, never turning back, never turning back. Familias reunidas, siempre reunidas, siempre reunidas, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna keep on moving forward, keep on moving forward, keep on moving forward.
Our centering reading, carefully chosen by Reverend Elizabeth, written by Lisa Bovee Kemper, is titled Circle of Care. In religious community, we share our joys and our triumphs, our sorrows and our broken places. In this circle of care, we make space for the complexity of life, the myriad experiences that bless and break our hearts. The truth of human experience dictates that on any given day, we each come to the table with hearts in different places. It is especially so on this day, invented to honor women who nurture. In this circle of care, we honor the truth that mothering is not and never will be quantified in one single descriptor. Mothering can be elusive or infuriating, fulfilling or confusing, commonplace or triumphant. It exists in that everyday experiences of each person. There is no human being that is not connected to or disconnected from a mother. And so we honor the complexity of experience, writ large and flowered platitudes, but here in this space laid bare, honoring the truth in each of our hearts. There is room for all in this circle. If you have carried a child or children, whether or not they came to be born, we see you. If you have fervently wished to do so and circumstances of fate made it impossible, we see you. If you love children we cannot see, whether because of death or estrangement, we see you. If you never wanted to be a mother, we see you. If you are happy to mother other people's children as an educator, an auntie, or a foster parent, we see you. If your mother hurt you physically or emotionally, we see you. If you had no mother at all, we see you. If your mother is or was your best friend, we see you. If your gender says you are not a mother, and yet you take care, you take on the role of nurturer, we see you. If you wonder whether your mothering has been enough, we see you. And if yours is a different truth altogether, we honor your unspoken story. There is room for all in this circle. May it be so today and always.
So sometimes today, recently, I find myself on television and looking at the plethora of advertising for Mother's Day that presents it as one of these Hallmark holidays. Get a greeting card, buy some chocolates, get some flowers, take your mom to dinner, preferably at a restaurant with a big advertising budget. Consumption is not what this holiday is about, not what it was founded for, nor even solely to say thanks, Mom. Though it is certainly worth saying thanks, Mom, to those who have mothered now and every day. But as it was originally conceived, Mother's Day was proclaimed by one of our own Unitarians, Julia Ward Howe, as a woman's response to the brutality of war, to the Civil War in particular. It was a cry in lament against the brother versus brother wounding of so many families. And after a conflict that had torn through fault lines of our nation and exposed, finally, so many injustices that we had agreed to bury for a tense peace between people fundamentally opposed on basic questions of humanity and racial justice. I don't know about all of you, but some of us have families who do that, bury their conflicts because they'd prefer a tense peace, bury their truth because they fear that those truths are so incompatible they can lead to nothing but fighting. But we must raise one another differently, raise our children to be able to be more. On this level, Mother's Day has always been a question of the purpose of nurturing and care. The debts we owe to our own progeny and the children of the world. No person, Julia Ward Howe wrote, no one would raise a child to be thrown onto their battle lines and used as cannon fodder. So she said, arise, all women who have hearts, whether your baptism be that of water or of tears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. As Julia Ward Howe proclaimed Mother's Day, she said, we women of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. For this, we do our nurturing. It's bigger than just raising your own child. It is the children of the world whose futures are at stake. No one wants their child to grow up into a world that is less free, less filled with thriving than their own. What person would hold a baby close for a feeding and not wish to end hunger? No person wipes the tears from a damp face after a bout of weeping and hopes for anything less than a happy world. No parent anticipates their child's first steps and says, a dangerous future filled with pitfalls, should be my child's to hold. We all hope for wonder, for blessings, for joy and creativity and imagination, for full bellies and open minds, the fulfillment of dreams, spaciousness for artistic impulses and games and play. Though when we cannot agree on what it would take to find that idyllic future, sometimes tensions develop, problems surface. In that time before the Civil War, many white men of the day had claimed the right to stake their children's comfort on the convenience of not noticing, not caring for other people's children, Black children, and their right to direct their own lives. They sent people into danger and discomfort to ease their own and to sustain profitable business ventures, secure in the knowledge that their own children would have a better life because of it. And so war followed, chasing away that legal fiction that one human could ever own another as property, that humans and trade goods should be interchangeable commodities. And so Julia Ward Howe, in the wake of all this, asked for a council of sisters to join in mutual understanding, to look closely at one another, to see the beauty of each human, to want what was best for each other's babies. As John Adams once said, I must study politics and war so that my sons shall have liberty to study mathematics and philosophy. And if he'd listened to his wife Abigail, it would have been all of his children. She was not happy about the lack of women's vote. I just want you all to know. And he continued, my sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy and geography and natural history, naval architecture, navigation, commerce, and agriculture, in order to give their children a right to study painting, poetry, music, architecture, statuary, tapestry, and porcelain. In a thriving, functioning society, we are always looking for that life in which the children of our children can find art and creativity, because they are not tied to what is hard and necessary, but have space for leisure and open doorways. And so it has gone through the ages. Now dishwashers and Roombas mean that our time might not be spent on vacuuming or washing dishes unless you love to do so. But at that same time, we wonder if we are doing it for all children. Even today, our school boards are speaking of removing books from shelves, books that allow for that creativity. As I mentioned in our speaking about momming, you know, the boxcar children gave me ideas. My side of the mountain, even just basics like Little House on the Prairie that we might not read today. But they teach more complex ideas, and as we grow, having books that depict the experiences of gay and trans teens, books that give us a way to practice what we might say to ourselves or others who are struggling with suicidal thoughts. Books that depict the many ways someone might react in the aftermath of a sexual assault. Books that confront the hardship of dealing with racism in schools and society. Books that tell of existing, living with mental illness in a world that judges. This is not just the freedom to read, but the freedom, the right to be nurtured in a myriad experiential realm, in the imagination of many possible futures. That kind of creative play is invaluable, and it doesn't stop when you cease to be short enough to climb under the branches of a pine tree and hide out in your little blanket fort. It keeps going as long as we keep imagining together, nurturing children, but also ourselves. It continues. We continue to engage in the mothering of the world, so long as we continue to expand the worlds of one another. Offering adventure and empathy through books is one way. This is why mothers in our congregation and nurturers of all ages are joining together in that care, in our shared commitment to practices we think of as motherhood, resisting the enclosure of our children's or anyone's lives by the removal of their imaginative, expansive ability to find magic. And so this Mother's Day, as Julia Ward Howe called us, arise, all women who have hearts, all people who have hearts to care and to nurture. Let us recommit to that work of motherhood, which is the work of justice and thriving and joy. And then, let us recommit this Mother's Day that we do not pile our hopes for nurturing and for the care of the young or the younger than ourselves upon those whose gender or reproduction choices have given them a role of mother, but that we spread the role of mothering amongst all ourselves and nurture one another with our action, that it may be a lighter shared load with so many more to carry it. And so once again, let us think of those who nurture, your mother or someone else's, a teacher, a mentor, a coach, a fellow congregant. Let us take a moment to appreciate the mothers of the world today, spending so many unnoticed hours to make sure children and youth can study painting and poetry, music, architecture, statuary, tapestry, and porcelain, and anything else their hearts call them to quest for. So may this day be a day for rest, for reciprocity and shared care, for generosity for the renewal of vows between family members, for the mutual upkeep of a thriving home, and finding creative ways to make every mom and every person who moms and mothers know that their efforts are seen and known, that you are beloved, and that we, all of us, will do our part in the dance of nurturing and care as it comes around. So instead of amen, let me say, if you haven't yet today, call your mom or call a mom and let them know you love them. And join us in singing, rising in body or in spirit, number 311, Let It Be a Dance, as we join together in that dance of nurture.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the word, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow in the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Standing as we extinguish our chalice flame and then send forth our children to carry the flame as they continue their religious education in the Rainbow Room downstairs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, you need a cover? Oh, you guys have a Okay. All right, in the order of service, you'll find the following words as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry within our hearts until we are together again. And now I invite you to turn toward the center aisle as we sing out our children to their class with the words printed on the back of your worship insert.
Children, remember as you go the lessons we have learned together. To seek the light of truth, to tend the fire of caring, always returning to the warmth of this community.
May you find nurture, be nurtured, and nurture others into the great and wondrous possibilities of life. Blessed be.
Should be.